Hello, good people of Ideas to Riches. Welcome to this live episode of Mindset Series. As I've been saying on this channel, our main objective is to really get successful implementers of really good mindset to start a business. That's why we have these conversations, and where I'm privileged to introduce you to Maya Sabina Jennifer. She's a life transition coach since 2000. Her clients are smart, successful career women between the age of 35 and 50. These are successful people, but despite their success, there's still some sort of issue around themselves, knowing themselves and feeling good about their success. So she helps them reinvent themselves so they can have a bit more control of their lives and be a bit more fulfilled. So they can exude optimism, balance, fulfillment, and embody the sort of like the success that they have created throughout their life. So allow me to introduce you to welcome Maya to this live broadcast. How are you, Maya?
I'm good.
How is it?
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you very much for joining us on this live broadcast. I really appreciate the you joining us here. So how is India?
India is currently a little bit cold. Where I stay in the city of Mumbai, it's supposed to be actually pretty warm around this time. But there's a lot of snowfall in the northern part of India, and that's translating into Mumbai also getting a little cold.
Oh, I see.
So,
Okay.
but it's pleasant. So,
Now,
I
so
will
I mean,
enjoy
look,
weather.
the amazing thing that I've benefited since you and I met is the sort of mindset discussion you and I have been having about the approaches to changing one's mindset and how that mindset can completely change the fulfillment of one's life, the successes that one can achieve, and to actually make things happen. So, please, can you explain to our audience what a life transition coach is?
Okay. So, a couple of months ago, I was going through this process of who really are my clients. And as I did a study and an analysis of my clients, I found that they were smart, they were successful, career women,
Right.
and in very senior positions in their organizations or in their own businesses.
Right.
And so I had a lady who came to me who was an equity analyst, and she wanted to start a fund. From an analyst and an employee to starting a fund and an entrepreneur requires a total different mindset. So she came to me for coaching, and then I took her from reality A of being an analyst and to reality B, where she today manages her own fund.
Right.
So that's what I call is a life transition from one phase of life to another.
I see.
Or to give you another example, I had a homeopathic doctor who came to me a couple of years ago, and today he's an equity. Today he's a sales trader, an equity sales trader with an international organization where he does their sales trading for them in equity. So I took him from one end of the spectrum into the other end of the spectrum.
Oh, I see.
So,
So,
so that's what I mean by life transition. You shift from one phase of your life to another.
oh, I see.
But
So,
mindset.
so basically, if I'm clear about the journey that I want to take, you help me move from where I am currently to where I ought to be, or where I desire to be.
That's right.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So, and you've built your business around this sort of transition from one state to the other, and I know you've got quite a number of clients. So, what I thought would be really useful is for you to discuss with us the sort of mindset one needs to have as a business owner to move from where you have absolutely no customer to to getting customer and getting customer to come to you, or even when you go and have a conversation with customer, you can effectively acquire the customer to sustain your business?
Okay. So I will share with you 3 points or 3 principles that I used in my life and I continue to use them. So the first principle is to nurture a strong sense of self-worth.
Okay.
So I'll just break it up into 2 parts so that the audience who are listening to us can actually understand it. So if you look, I'll take the analogy of an apple tree. So if you look at the apples on the tree, they are first raw and over a period of time they ripen.
Yes.
But now that raw apple, do we say that that raw apple is a bad apple?
No.
No, we just say it is raw.
Yes.
Now, this is something which I did. So I'm coming to the second part of what I did. So I kept, at one point, I'm a great coach. I had clients coming to me, but I wanted to expand.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with the expansion part. And I thought maybe my course is not good enough, or as a coach, I'm not good enough, and therefore people are not coming to me.
Right.
But the truth was that even after a sabbatical, about 6 of my old clients came back to me for coaching in new areas,
Right.
which is saying that I'm not a bad coach. So I said, then where is the gap?
Yes.
And then I realized that as a business entrepreneur, I'm raw. I don't, and what I need to do is to learn business in order to be able to communicate my message to more people.
Yes.
Today, my business happens by word of mouth. And so that became the next part. So all the time I was judging myself as a bad coach, but actually I moved from judgment to assessment, where I started assessing myself and saying, 1 minute, hold on, I'm a great coach because these clients would not have come back for another level of coaching. So the gap is in my business development skills as a business entrepreneurial skills. So I did a whole list of mindset assessment that I needed to develop and a whole set of business development skills that I needed to do. And then I began to do, like at London Real, I did a couple of courses in order to develop those skills of mine.
So can I ask a question? I like that point that you made between what happened in terms of how you relate with your customer, the potential customer that may not be responding to your proposition, and the way you actually examine yourself. So it seemed to me that that's where most of us really struggle. We struggle with the fact that it is not us that's the problem. It is not the fact that we don't have the skill. It is just a different level of skill that we need to develop. So we need to develop customer acquisition skill. That doesn't mean that we are bad in whatever business that we're doing. Is that right?
You're absolutely right. Functionally, I was excellent. But in acquisition skills, the business development skills, I was raw. I needed to develop in order to ripen as a great business manager or a business entrepreneur. It is the same. When I started off as a coach, I was absolutely raw. I was a chef before that. From a chef, I had to learn coaching skills to become a coach. And now I'm a great coach. But now that I'm a great coach and I want to take my message to more people, I realize the skill set is different.
Right. Right.
So now I have to develop business skills in order to be able to get my message heard or my message out to more people. So
Fantastic.
it's a different skill set. So it's not that I'm bad as a coach, but I'm raw as an entrepreneur.
So
So I moved from judging myself to assessing myself.
fantastic.
So
So
that's a very key point that entrepreneurs need to do is stop judging themselves, but assessing what they need, do they want. So I realized I don't want to be a coach, I want to be into business. then I have to develop a business skills.
So I like this. This is an important point. So first of all, we need to realize that there's a difference between our technical skill and the entrepreneurial skill. So
That's right.
because we have technical skills doesn't necessarily mean that we are automatically an entrepreneur. So we need to understand those two separate skills and then go after the entrepreneurial skills that we may not have. And this is particularly important when you're trying to get customers. So
That's
your
right.
confidence is not lost in terms of how people respond to your technical skill. Thank you
That's
very
right.
much.
So the
Okay,
clients, your customers actually still get your self-worth, your self-confidence.
fantastic.
And at the same time, you're building. So you're coming from success and you're building on success.
Excellent. Excellent. So you have another point that you wanted to make.
That's right. The second point is to cultivate an indomitable resilience. As entrepreneurs, we need to have this mindset of resilience,
Yeah.
the speed with which we come back
Yes.
into playing the game, taking our game to the next level. So, again, here I would break it up into two parts.
Right.
The first part, I'll start with an example. So, we've all seen the piano and we've seen the pianist play. So, sometimes he plays, on the white keys, and sometimes he uses the black keys.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the piano, the white keys are sufficient to play music. But if I need to have certain scales, melodies, I need to use the black keys.
Yeah.
And these black keys are actually the connecting link to higher levels of awareness where my development happens.
Right.
So, to help you to understand this better, I will come back to an incident that happened in my life a couple of years ago. As entrepreneurs, we're all looking for happiness,
Yes.
and we're looking that, you should be happy about what you do.
Yes.
But I sometimes feel that we limit our definition of happiness to a very small frame, and that causes a lot of disappointment in our lives.
Right.
So, a couple of years ago, my father was very ill before he passed away. So, the 1 month before he was ill, what I did was I was with him. I took leave from my work and I went and spent this 1 month with him. It wasn't a happy moment because he was not well,
Mm.
but it was a very fulfilling moment. I went through all the spectrum of emotions, from fear, anxiety, sadness, joy. As my father, I could see him in pain. Sometimes he would share about incidents from his life, which he enjoyed. There were times when he had made mistakes. So, it was the entire spectrum.
Mm.
And as entrepreneurs, instead of looking for happiness, I look for fulfillment, which allows me to travel through the entire spectrum of emotions
Yes.
and still come out successful.
Mm.
So that is where most of my clients are successful, but they don't experience fulfillment because for them, after success, it's to be continuously happy. But that's not reality. Reality is you've got to go through the whole spectrum again and again and again. And that is what seasons you into a great entrepreneur.
Right. So it's the understanding that all of the emotions that we may feel as entrepreneurs covers the spectrum of fulfillment, satisfaction, happiness to sadness and maybe a bit of fear and also and
That's
all
right.
sort of negative emotions. So we just need to understand that our our feelings and emotions covers this spectrum, and it is the appreciation of that spectrum that's one of the key mindset that we really need to have.
That's right.
Okay.
Because in the journey of an entrepreneur, you are going to go through this whole spectrum.
Okay.
Therefore, you need to have your self worth already in place so that you can handle this spectrum of emotions.
Fantastic. And that's where the resilience is. So,
That's where resilience is.
because you know that you have technical skills, you're now sure that you need to, whatever it is that you get from the market is not about your technical skill. And you need to then go and get the entrepreneurial skill that will enhance your technical skill in terms of business.
That's
And
right.
in order to be resilient, you need to know that look, you will be going through the spectrum of emotion from day in day out. And if you appreciate that, then the resilience will be a lot easier to do. Right?
That's right.
Excellent.
And at this point, I remember a book I read. I can't remember the, I'm just trying to remember the author and the book. But he said, he said the monk who, I can't remember the author, but he says that business is actually not an Excel sheet, it's a canvas
Right.
because there's constantly things that are changing.
Yes.
Today, your employee comes, your employee goes, the market changes, the products change. So that's all part of the business. And
Right.
therefore, you have to view business as a canvas and not in terms of numbers and the Excel sheet. So you've got to constantly be creating.
I really like that example. That's very nice.
I
So
will share the book and the quote with you so that you can share it with the audience.
fantastic. Thank you for that. And I think that's an important element, isn't it?
Right.
It's not always 2 + 2 = 4 in business. Anything can happen. It's not a formula that you just follow and all of it will just fall in place.
That's right.
So the skill you have to develop is basically to be resilient, to be adaptable, to be self-assured. Those are the things that you need to have in terms of how you go through developing a business and hopefully sustaining a successful business.
That's right.
Excellent. Any more mindset issue that you think we...
That's right. So now this whole thing about how do I remain in this positive state? How do I remain in the state of self-worth?
Right.
That brings us to the third mindset is to practice emotional flexibility.
Okay.
So I'll break this up into two parts so that, to explain it further.
Okay.
So there is a natural law in place which follows that mood swings are natural.
Right.
So all of us have noticed that at one time we feel very fulfilled, very joyous,
Yes.
and without doing anything, we suddenly feel very fearful, very anxious.
Yes.
And then again, without doing anything, we go back into feeling fulfilled and happy.
Yes.
It just happens automatically, and that's actually a natural law.
Right.
It's something like if you've seen a clock, a pendulum clock, where the pendulum swings, say 45 degrees east to 45 degrees west.
Yes.
So if I have fulfillment at the 45-degree mark, if I do nothing, I will go to the 45-degree west side and I'll end up in fear. And if I do nothing, again, the pendulum by its
Okay.
natural momentum will go to fulfillment. So it's a natural momentum
Right.
from left to right, right to left. Now, the question that I know is going to come up in the audience is then how I'm going to be controlled by this natural law.
Yes.
And my answer is that you do not need to be controlled by this natural law. So how do we do it? So I'll take a little detour and I'll take you to a circus. I think all of us have been to a circus at some point. Of course, now they're very rare. So I
Yes.
don't think, our children would have seen circuses as often, at least in India.
Yeah, they play it
So
on
in the
video
circus,
these days.
you see, sorry, you were saying something?
No, I said that they play these things on video games these days. They don't go to circus like we used to in the old days.
That's right. So in the circus, you have this swimming trapeze artist that swings from one trapeze to another.
Yes.
So now, if I want to change my feeling, because I know from fulfillment, if I don't do anything, I will go to fear.
Yes.
But the moment I see myself dropping and from contentment, I see myself moving into boredom, At this point, I can jump like the trapeze artist onto another swing, going back to fulfillment.
Right. Right.
And I just have to look for better feeling thoughts until I go back.
Fantastic.
So I'm no longer being controlled by the natural pendulum. I'm jumping pendulums or jumping swings in order to have the feeling that I want, that can empower me, that can inspire me, make me productive.
Wow, that's very nice. So it goes back to point two. So we know that there's a natural spectrum of emotions, from
That's right.
good to bad, from positive to negative. So we know
That's
that's
right.
natural, but we can do something about it by maintaining the good or the positive spectrum of the emotion. And the only way we
That,
do that is to to jump from one swing to the next, like a trampy artist. So these are tricks that will keep you mostly on the positive side of things, right?
that's right.
So, in terms of emotions, what would you say would be um, the sort of thing that I need to have in my mind to be able to jump from sort of when I know that okay, I'm getting a negative feeling, I'm getting negative emotions. What are the specific things that you think I can do to make that jump?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. And that was the next thing. I was going to come with an example for the audience so that the example would make more sense to them.
Excellent.
So, for example, I remember one day sitting at work, and on the one hand, I was feeling contentment, and on the other hand, I was feeling bored. So, my emotions were oscillating between contentment and bored. And I had this chart, the spectrum with me. So, I looked at the spectrum and I saw that if I do nothing right now, I'm going to go all the way to fear because that's the natural law or the natural swing of the pendulum.
Right.
So I need to jump. So the first thing I did in order to jump onto another swing was to remember a time where I was successful.
Ah.
I did a great job. So I went back to a time. I remember I did a tea tasting session, for example, where they don't have to be related or relevant. It's anything that will bring you back into a better feeling state. And you keep jumping swings. So the first swing I moved and I went into experience when I was doing that whole event, talking to people about tea, sharing with them. I was bringing back that success, that feeling of joy, that feeling of fulfillment and accomplishment inside me. But
Right.
that wasn't enough. Then I went to the next incident when I applied, I was applying for a Sherry Blair mentorship and I got selected. So I went through that whole process of how I answered the questions, and at each point, how I brought my thoughts together to get accepted. And when I got accepted, I began to experience the joy.
Right.
So that took me to onto another swing, but still I'm not at fulfillment. So again, I moved on to another swing about a feedback from a client, about her transition and saying that how with something so abstract that I do, I still managed to move a person from reality A to reality B. So I kept moving from one to the other, and it's a conscious effort because the pendulum is trying to pull you back into the natural swing, and you're trying not. So you've got to be so focused to continuously jump from one swing to the other,
Fantastic.
or you will go back with the natural state.
Fantastic.
And
That
that's where conscious living actually comes in. As an entrepreneur, it's a very important skill.
fantastic. I really love that idea. So essentially, anytime you're feeling bad, you just go back into the time and the things that you've done that made you feel really good. So in the time you won
Correct.
something or you did something for somebody or whatever event, and it doesn't even have to be related to business. It can just be anything.
Yeah,
You just
absolutely.
you just package that and then rethink about it, and hopefully all of that will get you into good mood. So that's
That's
effectively
right.
jumping from one swing to the next swing.
That's right.
Brilliant. That is fantastic. That really is good. I mean, I
And
think
the thing is, because the natural swing will pull you back into the negative. So you've got to keep jumping the swings. So as an entrepreneur, remember to keep jumping on a better feeling swings.
fantastic. So we have the first one, which is to say that be self assured that your technical skill is as good as it ought to be. That you may have some issues around entrepreneurial skill that you need to go and fix. So you need to go and acquire that skill. And
That's right.
if you have this sort of self assuredness, that will help you in terms of the way you relate with customers. Now,
Absolutely.
and the second point is about resilience, is to say this is life, this is business. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, and this may affect your emotion. You may take your emotion, you might be positive on one at one point and negative at the other point. But you have to understand, if you know this is what happens, if you know this is the natural law, you'll be a bit more resilient.
That's right.
But the additional element, the really icing on the cake, is the fact that you can even control the way you feel by jumping the swing, meaning that you're maintaining, you're controlling the swing from positive to negative by really going back into your positive things that's happened to you. That doesn't necessarily relate to business, but can really bring you out of the negative emotions into the positive emotions. So with that, you are able to relate to client a bit more. You are able to see things in a positive light and then begin to change things around so you can begin to attract people to your business. Would you say that's a
Yeah,
summary of the...
absolutely. You summed it up absolutely brilliant. And if you got it, I'm sure your audience will get it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any
So
more
much.
thing that you want to add to this that you think we can really pull together to really begin to change our mindset so we can acquire more customers?
I think the first thing is to realize to kind of like I continuously remind myself that I'm a great coach and I'm a raw entrepreneur. And these are the skills that I am developing. And I'm already on my journey to success as an entrepreneur because I'm clear I want to be a successful entrepreneur. So
Fun.
the distinction between a coach and an entrepreneur, I think that's the first place that somebody needs to decide. So just to give you an example, like yesterday I had a client and she's a great, I think, UX designer. And she's also the CEO of the company. But she doesn't exercise her rights or her leadership skills as a CEO. So I asked her to very clearly define that she want to become a business manager. So then over the next 1 year of our coaching program together, she either develops herself as a CEO, so we highlight all the skills she needs to do, or she develops herself as a business entrepreneur, and what are those skills. So I think it's for us very important to first understand what is it that we want to develop for ourselves. Once we have that clarity, then all the other pieces of the puzzle will come together.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
I think,
Fantastic. Maya, thank you very much for
thank
first
you so much.
for 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 joining us on this. I know you're very busy. I don't want to take too much of your time. If people want to get hold of you, if people want to go through this sort of life transition coaching that you do, how can they reach you?
I will share my email ID. It's Maya at the rate of anahatworld.com.
Right.
I will share it and I'll send you a link to it.
Fantastic.
But only in the email, the website is under construction.
Fantastic.
But I'm also available on LinkedIn if they want to send me a private message on LinkedIn
Brilliant. Okay.
under Maya Sabina Jennifer, so they can connect me through LinkedIn or they can connect with me through Facebook on Maya Sabina Jennifer.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I will definitely put all of that in the description of this live broadcast. I am eternally grateful for you to have spent this long with us. I am sorry that it overrun the time that I suggested, but thank you very much. This has been an incredible lesson for me at least, and I'm sure my audience would have enjoyed all of the tips that you've shared with us. So thank you very much for spending the time with me.
Thank you so much. And all the best on your journey from ideas to riches.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm
Uh,
lucky to be a part of it.
Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have gotten as much value as I got from this live broadcast with Maya. She gave us three incredible tips that I thought was really brilliant and will be useful for us to apply as we try to start up our business and work through our businesses. So thank you all for watching. If you're watching the recorded version of this, thank you for spending the time to go through this, and I'm sure you have gotten value for your time. So thank you, and see you on the next broadcast.